What's up, guys? Welcome to another home theater hangout with myself and Jordan, aka Haterade Cowboy. What's up, Haterade?
What's going on, Shane?
All right, well, we got I think a good show today, but let me tell you guys how it's gonna work today. So we are going to go through our three-tiered home theater setups for entry level, mid level, and high end level. So what we're going to include is AVR or processor, one. We're going to include the speakers, two. A subwoofer, three. And then a source component. So our pricing tier, as is, for entry level, we are looking at $100 to $2,000. That's the entry level. The mid level is $2,000 to $10,000. And then the high end level is $10,000 on up. Although I did try to keep it realistic and kind of capped mine by a little bit. I'm not going to tell you how much. You might think that Trinov is going to be on there, but listen, I know most people can't afford a Trinov. So I didn't want to get all too uppity on the high end. I don't know what Jordan put on his high end tier. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm guessing it's probably on there. So I'm trying to be with you guys and be realistic and live in the real world. Jordan, since you are the guest today, we're going to start off with your list.
Okay, so for my media player, I was like, okay, budget friendly. I was gonna go with an Arvolution, like the little player mini, because I think it's like $400. And I was like, you know what? I think most people that aren't like home theater enthusiasts would probably just buy like a streaming stick. And Apple TV is like the cream of the crop with that. So I went with the Apple TV and I figured, hey, this thing is less than $200. Most people already are paying for streaming services anyway. You know, your Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon. I'm sure you're probably subscribed to one of those, people watching. So I figured, hey, this is probably going to be the most cost efficient, and I think they're less than $200 when I looked it up. I forgot to put the prices on here, but I mean, for less than $200, you plug it up to your. I would assume you're plugging this up to your Ethernet so you can get the best, quality streaming, and then you just sign into your apps and you're done. So I mean, $200, less than $200, pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, so Apple TV is the Wi-Fi version is 130 and then
Forgot
the
about that.
Ethernet version is 150. So let's go on. Your subwoofer, you picked the Stark Sound SW15. Wow.
I did. You can get an SW15 two for one most times throughout the year. I don't think
Yeah.
they're on sale the whole time, but quite a few times throughout the year. Like, how many subwoofer companies do you know that give a buy one get one free on a 15-inch
Yep.
driver? So I was like, nah, I got to go with the SW15s. And you reviewed them. I reviewed them. I still have mine. You get two of them. You're not going to beat that for the performance. And then, if you decide to stack them like I did, man, I don't see anybody beating that performance for buy one get one.
So let's go down to your next category. Look at that, Polk XT70s. You went towers. Okay, okay.
I went with Polk because I've had various number iterations of Polk speakers, and until I upgraded to Arundel, that's pretty much all I had ever really known. Like, I had some mix and match Polk, but Polk had served me well for years, man. I mean, I had some of their older, like, high end speakers from a long time ago. Got them new at Fry's. I had a couple of those, and I had some cheap Polk speakers. But Polk makes some good stuff, man. I wouldn't call them like hi-fi, high tier status, but
Yeah.
unless you go to the big ones that they just came out with a couple years ago. But Polk makes some good stuff, man, and you can get some if you get a good processor, receiver, whatever. You can, I think you'd be happy on a budget.
Yeah.
So these are $299 each. They've got a 1-inch dome tweeter,
Yep.
two 6.5-inch bi-laminate paper cone woofers, two 8-inch passive bass radiators, and eight ohms impedance. They can take up to 200 watts and will play from 35 to 40,000 hertz, 86 dB
Yeah.
sensitivity.
Yeah, good budget option for sure.
I think I'm just gonna go a little bit over $2,000 on this one.
All right. So next, your AVR.
The TXNR 6100. So this is this one is $699. So I went with this one because it's a 7.2 home theater receiver, Dolby Atmos, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Apple AirPlay, Amazon Alexa, does Dolby Atmos, DTS:X. You get 100 watts per channel into 8 ohms with 2 channels driven. It's THX certified. The only thing that bugs me is the Acu EQ. So I think the first 2 receivers that I bought had Odyssey, and then the last one that I had, which was the last one I ever had, they came out with their own like room correction software, Acu EQ, and that stuff is trash. The mic was trash.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Because I already didn't like Odyssey very much. Odyssey makes that thing. I mean, Acu EQ makes Odyssey look like, you know, Trinov or something. But yeah, I mean, for price and feature set, I don't really see anybody beating Onkyo, and they pretty much kept that up over the years. And like I said, I think they've gotten better with some of the issues that they had, like with the HDMI board and stuff like that.
So what do we got for your total cost here?
$2,700, and you know we're not including like tax and anything stuff like this. So, $2,700 for my budget friendly package.
So that is Jordan's budget-friendly entry-level tier, a little bit over $2,000. He sort of missed the assignment on this one, but
My bad. I got excited.
all right. So my entry-level tier, we're gonna start it off with the Sony STRDH 790 to 7.2 channel receiver. So this puts out 90 watts per channel. And if you want, you can do a 5.2 layout. So 5 lower channels, 2 Atmos height channels if you want to. Real basic. It's $450 on Amazon. And that was, I wrote that down. Yeah, so $500 normally. It looks like Amazon has it on sale for $450. Plus I picked Sony because I think a lot of people probably have Sony TVs. And usually their AVRs work really well with their TVs with this Bravia Sync and all that. So that's why I went with that. All right, so let's go on to the speakers. This is the Polk Monitor XT20. So you picked Polk, I picked Polk
Nice.
as well. So these are $250 a pair. So I picked 2 pairs of these. So you get 4 of these for your left, right, and also your surround speakers. And, as Jordan had mentioned earlier, these are a very popular entry-level speaker and these will play down to 38 hertz, 38 to 40 kilohertz, so some pretty good high-end extension. Although I probably wouldn't expect too much bass because they only have a 5.25-inch driver in them. So let me add the center channel. You already know what center channel it's going to be. The center channel is the Polk XT30. So this has dual 5.25-inch drivers. This will play down to 77 hertz. So you can still cross it over at your 80 hertz to get that the regular 80 hertz crossover that everybody uses. The price for this is $119. So I have it on the Polk's website. They have it as $150. So yeah, you're saving a little bit of money there. That's the XT30. So we've got your front LCR, and then you have your surround speakers, and then of course what the Atmos speakers are going to be. It is also going to be Polk XT90, $100 per pair. So we've got 5 lower channels, and then your 2 top channels for a full 5.2 channel setup. And then for the subwoofer, I'm going with the RSL Speedwoofer 10S. This is $449 for one. I can only fit one into the budget here to keep it under $2K. But I believe I reviewed this a while back. This has a single 10-inch driver. It's 400 watts. It's got extension down to 22 hertz, so you'll probably go down a little bit deeper with in-room response. It's a quick, tight little subwoofer, very REL subwoofer like. However, it doesn't quite have the same build quality, but it's only 450 bucks. What do you expect? Then let's go over to the source. This is going to be a popular one on the list. This is the Apple TV. This is the Ethernet version. 150 bucks. You know, everything that Jordan had said applies here as well. It's the easiest way to get into your movie watching streaming services. Just does it all. It works. It's the quickest out of all the streamers I've ever used. I've got Roku's, I've got Fire Sticks. Those all tend to get a little janky over time, but
Yep.
the UI on Apple is just the best in the biz, I think. And my total cost came to, not counting tax, $1,950
Wow.
for the AVR 5.2 channels, speakers, the subwoofer, and your streaming device. So under $2,000, guys. You can do it. And I tell you what, this was hard. It was very hard to come up with something in the budget tier. So that is our entry level tier list. That is $100 to $2,000. We are going to move over to the mid level. So the question is for you guys, what is on your entry level tier list? Leave a comment down below. We would like to know which speakers you would have put on the list rather than Polk. So this is the mid-level tier, guys. We've moved on to the mid-level. This is from $2,000 to $10,000. Mid-level tier. And let us know if your mid-level tier is different than our mid-level tier. JTR and mid-level tier. Didn't think I would see that. Okay.
So if you do 3Ds, that's $7,000. So I completely screwed up the mid level. So you know what? Why don't you go to yours and I'll pick a different speaker. I'll come back to this.
All right.
I have to go to my secondary.
All right, so while Jordan reworks his mid-level tier, let's go over to my mid-level tier here. So I'm going to kick this off with the AVR. This is what I use. So this is my daily driver in my living room. This is the Sony AZ7000ES receiver. This is a 13.2 channel receiver. So you can do a 9.4 layout. So 9 lower channels and 4 high channels if you want. And this, if you have a Sony TV, this has the Bravia Sync. You can do dual center channels. You can use your TV as a center channel extension. This is Roon certified. It has all the bells and whistles, 8K pass through. So if you have a media player or something like that, or I don't know what you have that would be 8K, but this will do 8K, 4K, 120, whatever it is. This thing is pretty up to date as far as specs is concerned. IMAX Enhance is also there. It doesn't have Auro 3D, but really, who uses Auro 3D nowadays?
That's true.
Dolby Atmos DTS:X. I think they kind of knocked it out of the park, especially for price and feature set. And this is $3,300. This is on Amazon, by the way. So these are a lot of Amazon screenshots. If you guys hadn't noticed, we'll drop some links in this video after we're done. I'm gonna move over to the speakers. The speakers are the KEF Q3 Meta bookshelves. These are $800 a pair. I went with 3 pairs of these, which would give you six lower channels, your left right surrounds, your left right back speakers. So $800 for the pair. So we're looking at $2,400 already. And you guys know that I love matching speakers. This has the 6.5-inch coax driver, you know, their little inch tweeter in the center, so you get that pinpoint KEF accuracy. Some people think it's a little bright, but you know, you can always tone that down in your AVR if you want to. But I would have done other speakers, but I know a lot of people just wouldn't want to mount regular boxes to their ceiling, so I wanted to get something that offered height channel placement, which would be the KEF Q8, which is the matching height channel speakers. I went with a set of these, so $800 for the pair. We're tacking on another $1,600 same matching aesthetics, the driver, and then of course to round it out, we've got the matching Q6 Meta Center Channel speaker, dual 6.5 inches, and then we have the mid-range with the coax center channel in this center tweeter in the center of the mid. So we are looking at three Q3s, one Q6, two Q8s. And then one very popular subwoofer is going to be the Stark
nice.
Sound SW15. So this right now is $900 each. So I went with two of these because the Sony can do 13.2 channels. So we've already got all 13 channels already filled up. And then we've got the two subwoofer spots filled up. So this is $1,800 for both subwoofers. And again, we already mentioned this earlier, but for my room, two of these, I was getting down to like 10 hertz, which was pretty impressive. I think it might have been even lower. I mean, it really depends on how big your room is, but if it's something like a 12-12 room, 12-13, then you'll probably get some infrasonics. Anything bigger than that, you might be hitting around, I'm just guessing, probably around like 20 hertz, maybe 18. And this could go cheaper because, like, Jordan had mentioned earlier, sometimes they'll do the buy one get one free during the year. They usually have sales multiple times a year. And then for source, again, the Apple TV. Not much has to be said about the Apple TV, but I mean, it's a safe bet for pretty much any tier just because it's so versatile and it's so user friendly. And you know what the total cost is here? I came to $10,050. So I went over by $50. $10,050 for the Sony AZ7000. Let's bring that up. AZ7000. We got three pairs of the KEF Q3s. We got one center channel, the KEF Q6. We got two pairs of Q8s. And then two Stark Sound SW15s for $10,050. That is my mid-level tier. Jordan, what do you got?
I've got the SVS Prime bookshelf speakers at $699 a pair. A lot of people have their towers, their bookshelf, the satellites. So these are a two-way speaker, 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter with a 6.5-inch polypropylene woofer. So they'll go down to 48 hertz to 25,000 hertz, 25 to 150 watts recommended power, and 87 decibels at 8 ohms. So $699 a pair. So we're looking at $700 for two. So if we do, so we're looking at $4,900. Yeah, for the center channel, I'm going to go with the Prime Center at $499. Center channel is a three-way design. You get a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter, 3.5-inch polypropylene mid-range driver, dual 5.25-inch woofers, same 48 to 25,000 hertz, 20 to 200 watts, 86 decibels at 8 ohms. That's going to give you an additional $500. Okay, so we're at $5,400. So processor is going to be RMC1. I still have this one. Obviously, I'm using a Trinnov in my home theater right now, but I've been using this for the last couple of years.
Bougie. Yeah, go ahead.
Bougie. The only caveat that I would say with this is also has some very annoying HDMI boards, which I know you can attest to, Shane, when you review this and when you were using it.
Yeah.
But if you take away that, this thing sounds awesome. You get 16 channels. You can get direct live, I believe, with bass control. It's kind of janky. You have to use like a little kit. It comes with like I think it's like a Raspberry Pi or something like that. And so that part's a little bit janky. I wish they would just integrate the directly into it. But
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is awesome. I love the way this sounds. I don't really see any other processors in this price point. Maybe, I don't know how much Anthems are. I think those are a little bit more. Okay, so with the RMC1, we're at $8,900. I'm going to go, instead of going with the Zadu, I'm going to go with the Arvolution Player Mini. So the Player Mini is $384. So 384. So right now we're at 92.84. So this thing pretty much does almost everything that the high-end player does, but I think it doesn't do 8K, obviously. So you get 4K, Dolby Vision, HDR10 Plus, 3D support. If you watch my Arvolution video, it's going to do the exact same thing. Obviously, it's not going to do 8K, and there's a
Yeah.
few other features. But caveat is, assuming you already have like a library, media library with Blu-rays and stuff ripped. But $384 if you have your own. If you're like, hey, mid-tier, I want to step up from streaming. I want to get a little bit more out of my system, and I already have a bunch of Blu-rays. I already got hard drive space, or I have a computer, and I want to rip my stuff. You get your Player Mini, and you'll step up from streaming. There won't be any compression on the audio or video. If you rip everything one to one, using like Makem KV or something, it's going to take up a little bit more space, but you're going to get Blu-ray quality streaming at home. You have control over it, and you don't have to worry about any type of compression or anything. So we're at 92.84. I think I'm going to have to go back to the Stark Sound on that one to get it within so $1,000 if you do. What is a single
Stark Sound is
50?
$900 for the Stark Sound.
Okay, so then we're right at 10 grand for that.
All right, so let's move on over to our high-end tier. So the high-end tier is from $10,000 up to, I guess, whatever.
I did not fail in this one.
So we're going to kick this off with the Anthem AVM90.
Shocker. I am surprised.
But this is it's a 15.4 channel processor. It is $7,500. This is an audio advice, by the way, if you guys couldn't tell. It's the Anthem is partly owned by like Martin Logan, so they definitely have that audiophile chops to them. We're gonna have to match that up with the matching 525 5-channel amplifier. You're gonna need a couple of these. So this is $3,800 a pop. Listen, you might as well just get 3 of them. 38. Need 3 of these bad boys. Let's bring up the specs on this one here. This is their Gen 2, available in 5, 3, and 2 channels. What's the wattage? 600 watts into 2 ohms, or 225 watts per into 8 ohms. And then for speakers, I went with a whole suite of Perlisten R4Bs. I'm going with 9 of these. So I want all 9 for your bed channels. These are $2,500 each. So for 9 of them, comes to $22,500. This is for the entire lower channels. I mean, I could have went with the bigger ones. I could have went with the R5Ms with the monitors, but again, I wanted to keep it somewhat realistic. And then to match the top channels, we have the Perlisten R4Ss. These are a little bit cheaper because they are a little bit slimmer. They have the same driver, the same tweeter mid-range complement, so $2,000 each. I am going with 6 of these for a total cost of $12,000. So you get near perfect timbre matching with all 9.6 channels. And then to top it off, we're going to go with 2 of my personal subwoofers. This is the RBH21, which is $12,000 each. I'm going with 2 of these for a total cost of $24,000. I mean, you can go any way you want with subwoofers.
Yeah.
But this is something that I know works well in my room. Obviously, you can go with like JTRs, whatever. But this is what I'm going with. This will cover your infrasonics, also your higher to mid frequencies as well. You might think it's a 21 inches giant. It's not going to sound that great, but it does sound great. Even though I have mine crossed over at like 40 hertz and below. This will come with an amplifier as well, so you will need an external amplifier to juice that up. I think it goes like a 4,000 watt amplifier, if I'm not mistaken. And then to round it off as the source, who's going to guess? Is it going to be an Apple TV? Is it going to be a Zidu media player? Of course not. Of course not. It's going to be a
Kaleidoscope.
Kaleidoscape Strato V. Listen, I went with the cheap one too. I'm only going with the $4,000 one. I could have went with the Terra server, but I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to keep it realistic, okay, guys? So, the Kaleidoscape Strato V for all your movie watching in 4K. Unfortunately, no 3D, but that's okay. What does it come with? 1 terabyte drive. You can download about 10 movies at a time. You can download them in like 4 minutes or maybe quicker, depending on your internet speeds. I have got, for my high level tier, there's no ceiling, even though I kept it at a ceiling for you guys out there. AVM 90, $7,500. The Perlison R4Bs, 9 of them for $22,500. 9 lower channels, 6 top channels. Perlison R4S, $2,000 each by 6, $12,000. RBH, 21-inch subwoofers, 2 of them, $24,000. Kaleidoscape player for $4,000. And then 3 Anthem MC 525s for $3,800 each, which is on screen, for a total cost of $81,400. I know this is going to be a lot cheaper than Jordan's.
Oh yeah, it is. Way cheaper.
All right, so the question is, do you agree with any of my choices? Leave your thoughts down below while we move over to Jordan's tier. So we're going to start it off already with the Strato V. Look at that.
So I was gonna go with the Terra server, but I was like, nah. You can still. The good thing with Kaleidoscape is you can download and delete as much as you want. So even though you only have 1 terabyte of hard drive space, technically you don't really run out because you can delete and re-download if you need to. $4,000 for the Strato V. For my speaker, I went with
Oh my God.
all R5Ms per
Oh
listen.
my God. You took it a step above me. Okay. All right.
So per listen R5Ms. So those are $29.95 a piece. So if we do $29.95 times 9, so we're at $30,000 right there. So the R5M monitors, they are a 3-way speaker
Yep.
with the DCP array, 26 millimeter silk dome tweeter. You've got 2 165 millimeter woofers. Sensitivity is 89 decibels, 4 ohm impedance with an 80 hertz to 20 kilohertz response. Awesome speakers. I've heard per listen. You've had these in your.
Yeah, I did a review. Yep.
You did a review of those. I've heard them in person many times. And then a couple of D215s. All right, so per listen D215s, those are 10 grand a piece. So you get a push pull. You've got frequency response is 20 to 200 hertz. THX EQ is 15 to 200 hertz. Boost is 24 to 200. Bells and whistles, balanced XLR, unbalanced XLR. You've got the iOS and Android app. You've got a touchscreen on it. You got to have space for these.
Yeah.
So this is assuming you have the space.
All right, so let's go on to
Oh yeah.
the processor.
I've heard you say this before. Once you hear the turn off, it's impossible to really go back to anything else. Storm is good too. I've heard Storm. I haven't heard them in my theater, but I've heard them a few times. Great. But out of all the receivers, processors that I've had in my actually owned and used, man, there's no comparison. It's not even close. So it's like I would find a way to enter. I think this was probably the first thing that I would buy out of anything, even if I had to save up for it. So yeah, Trinnov Altitude 16 channel processor, RO3D, DTSX, Dolby Atmos. Absolute complete configuration over your entire setup. You can do some crazy stuff. The Trinnov microphone. I forgot to. I guess I got to include that.
Yep.
Because that's what, like $800. Trinnov Altitude 16 is $19,500. So we're looking at $71,255 with the Altitude 16, including the mic. And then you gotta add the amplifier. So I guess technically you don't have to. You could use other amplifiers, so you could go cheaper. But let's just say we want to keep it in house. Trinnov Amplitude 16 is an additional $12,500. I thought they were more than that.
Yes.
So $12,500.
Yep.
So $108,000.
Woo.
So $108,000 minus what was yours? 83,000.
Mine was 81.
81.
Ah, yeah.
So I bested you by 27 grand.
All right, guys. So that's our stream for today. That's our 3 levels of home theater setups: entry level, mid level, high end level. Do you guys agree with our choices? What would your tiers be? What's your number? Do you think we made it too high? Do you think we made it too low? Would you go as high as Jordan on your high end tier, or would you try to keep it normal like me? Leave your thoughts down below and let us know. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Jordan's channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video.
Peace out.